Again this morning with the chair of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Elijah Cummings. Congressman, thank you for joining us this morning. I know you said the events this week reminded you of 1962. You're 12 years old, trying to integrate a pool in Baltimore.
That's right, George. We were trying to integrate a Olympic-sized pool near my house, and we had been constrained to a wading pool in the black community. We tried to integrate it, and as we did march towards that pool over a course of 6 days, I was beaten and all kinds of rocks and bottles thrown at me. And the interesting thing is that I heard the same kind of chants. Go home. You don't belong here. And they called us the N-word over and over and over again. And George, I got to tell you that I'm not the only person of color who has had those kind of experiences. And what it does when Trump does these things, when the president does these things, it brings up the same feelings that I had over 50-some years ago. And it's very, very painful. It's extremely divisive. And I just don't think that this is becoming of the president of the United States of America, the leader of the entire world. We can do better than that. I don't care what anybody says. And I think our Republican friends have to stand up and say, not that just that it might be inappropriate. No, they got to go further than that and say, Mr. President, you're absolutely wrong.
You know, the president's doubling down. This morning, he has a new tweet out this morning taking on the squad, those 4 Democratic congresswomen. He says, quote, I don't believe the 4 congresswomen are capable of loving our country. They should apologize to America and Israel for the horrible, hateful things they have said. They are destroying the Democratic Party, but are weak and insecure people who can never destroy our great nation, not capable of loving our country.
I take issue with that. I know, keep in mind that Ms. Tlaib, Ms. Presley, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, they're on my committee. So I interact with them every day. And, of course, I interact a lot with Ms. Omar. These are folks and women who love their country. And they work very hard, and they want to move us towards that more perfect union that our founding fathers talked about. And so when you disagree with the president, suddenly you're a bad person. Our allegiance is not to the president. Our allegiance is to the Constitution of the United States of America and the American people. And I'm going to tell you, these are some of the most brilliant young people that I have met, and I am honored to serve with them.
The president is determined to make that squad the face of the Democratic Party right now. We've seen some pretty ugly politics this week, but are you worried that it might work for the president and his party?
No, I'm not worried at all, because I know that what it is doing, too, is for the people who want to see our democracy intact. Those people despise these kind of words and hate them. And for every person that was saying those kinds of chants and feel the way that the president feels, there are probably 2 or 3 for every one of them who feel just the opposite. George, no matter where I go, what I'm hearing over and over again is from my constituents is please save our democracy. Please save our country. And you know something else they say, George? They say I'm scared. And I've never, in my total of 37 years in public service, ever heard a constituent say that they were scared of their leader.
Scared of their leader? Scared of the President of the United States?
Of the President of the United States. That's exactly right.
Do you believe President Trump is racist?
And I've been in politics 37 years. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Do you believe President Trump is a racist?
I believe he is, yes, no doubt about it. And I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I got to tell you, George, let me tell you, when I think about what he said to these young ladies who are merely trying to bring excellence to government and trying to make sure that generations yet unborn have an opportunity to experience a true democracy, when I hear those things, it takes me back, like I said, and I can still remember bleeding from my forehead when people were throwing bottles, and these were adults, throwing bottles and saying, "Go home, nigger," and it just, I can't. And again, the president has to set the tone. He needs to be a role model. I would say to the president right now, Mr. President, we want you to be a role model. We want somebody in that White House who our children can be proud of, who our children can emulate, who our children will look up to. And that is not the kind of example that you're setting. And I'm telling you, Mr. President, you and we, our nation is better than that.
You clearly support the squad, those members of Congress, but have they made it harder for Democrats to focus on the issues? You had to call out Congresswoman Tlaib when she called one of your fellow Republicans on the House Oversight Committee a racist. House Democrats had to pass a resolution distancing themselves from Congresswoman Omar's comments that were seen as anti-Semitic. Are they making it harder for Democrats to focus on the issues?
Not really. I think what is happening, and I've talked to all of them, and I think those are kind of instances that you just mentioned do present a distraction at times. But I realize that they are coming into a body that they've never served in before. But they come in with common sense and with a commitment to do the right thing. And so, again, they live and they learn. And that's part of life.
Do they have to tone it down? Have you advised them to do that?
I've told them they could say the things they say, but they got to say it in a different way. There's a way of saying things. You'll rarely hear me say the word racist. You will never hear me call somebody a liar, for example. And the reason why I don't is I know how people take things. They get so caught up in the tone or in the language that they don't even hear the message.
But you did just say that President Trump is a racist.
That's my point. What I'm trying to point out to you is that's very significant. Now, and again, George, I know what it feels like to be at the other end of those kinds of comments, and I see what's happening in our country with hate crimes going up, and we're getting more and more people being emboldened with making racist statements and treating people badly. And that's not the way we should be. We need to be working with each other and together. I tell my constituents, our diversity is not our problem. It is our promise.
Congressman Cummings, thanks for your time.